Today I'm doing a Q&A which was requested, so I have a list of questions here and I'm just going to read them out. I haven't thought about them or anything, so I'm literally just going from, whatever comes into my head straight away. First question is, what were the causes of your eating disorder? I think it's a massive combination of things, really. I basically felt that there were quite a lot of things wrong with my life, but I suppose that's a normal angsty teen thing to feel, and I think that a lot of things that were wrong with my life weren't really wrong with my life. I just kind of felt like that because, I don't know, I think as a teenager it's quite easy to feel that way about your life, and with all the hormones flying around you're very emotionally unstable and things can seem a lot worse when you're in that headspace and when you're, developing and having all these hormones flying around. But at the time that's how I felt, and obviously I'm not going to invalidate my 13-year-old self's emotions because that's how I actually felt at the time. And there were things wrong with my life as well. There were things that were going on that weren't great. But two of the things that I wrote were that I was fat and that I was ugly. And I think that I realised that I could, out of the list of all the things, the one thing I could change was my weight. Possibly it was a form of control. I don't really know. I can't really get myself back into that headspace of a 13-year-old because that was almost 11 years ago, so it's very difficult to kind of be able to work out exactly what the causes were without knowing exactly how I felt then. And I think that even though I have diaries and you can read all of that, you can never analyse your 13-year-old self when you can't put yourself exactly back in that headspace, I think. But, it is a theory that it could have been a form of control for me, that I felt the other things I was unable to do anything about, and so subconsciously that one thing on that list I was able to change, and so I went and changed it. I was also bullied a bit. I think a lot of people are, and a lot of people were bullied far more than I was, but I had some very uncomfortable situations, and I was bullied on a kind of daily basis by one person at my bus stop. So the actual being in school was fine, but the ride to and from school was difficult, and it made me not even want to be catching the bus and stuff. It made me afraid to go to the bus stop in the end because I was called fat and ugly all the time. So that was also, something that really lowered my self-esteem and impacted on my life, and was probably another cause. There were also other things, like I felt quite average a lot of the time. I never felt like I was really good at something, which isn't true because there are things that I do excel in, but I guess it's to do with feeling, not actual fact, and I did feel quite average. And when I actually started losing weight, I didn't feel so average anymore because I felt it was something I was good at, and I felt empowered and all that kind of stuff that can come with it. So yeah, those are the things I think would have had an impact. There may be other things as well, obviously genetic components as well, but yeah. Next question. Do you find working with people with eating disorders triggering? No, I don't really, is the simple answer to that. I wouldn't have put myself in that environment if I thought that I could have been triggered by it at all. I wouldn't have put myself in that position, because I'm not going to do anything to jeopardise my remission. What music do you listen to? Now, this is one of the worst questions to ask because I literally listen to such a wide variety of music that there's no point me, I could go on and on all the time. At the moment I've been listening to loads of film soundtracks. I really like film scores, and I've just been listening to a lot of that pretty much over the last couple of months, and adding to my collection of that kind of music. But I listen to a lot of acoustic, a lot of folk, a lot of rock. I listen to a lot of music, really I can't describe it all, and it depends on my mood and what I'm into at the time. What are your favourite makeup products? Well, Rimmel I think is my favourite. Like I use Rimmel eyeliner, Rimmel eyebrow pencil, I think Rimmel mascara. Having a look in my bag here. What foundation have I got? Max Factor foundation. And then I think it's Rimmel matte like powder, and then I've got some bronzer which I think is Rimmel but I'm not sure, and I have Gosh blusher. So yeah, but I'm really limited on makeup actually. Like I've only just started using some makeup like more than before. Like I started out using just eyeliner, and then when I was about 17, 18 I started using eyebrow pencil and mascara, and I didn't use anything else until about second year of uni probably, when I started using some foundation, a bit of foundation. And then that was it until recently when I bought some matte powder, because I came off the pill and I started getting more spots on my face, so I used the matte powder, you know, so it makes it like less shiny or whatever. And the bronzer and the blusher I bought recently as well. But yeah, those are literally the only products that I use regularly, and I don't usually use blusher or bronzer that much. So I don't particularly use that much makeup, and I never really have. One of my friends like tried to get me into makeup, and that's why I actually started buying a little bit more of it and, you know, using a bit more. But yeah, I'm not really into makeup like massively. I don't like taking time on my makeup. It takes me like max 10 minutes, usually about 5 minutes, because yeah, I don't want to spend like ages on my makeup. I just want to like do it and be like as quick as possible, really. Next question. What are your personal views and beliefs on religion? Tricky one. But basically, religion as a whole, I do not believe is a positive influence. I'm not really a fan of religion on the whole, especially when it comes to America, when it interferes with the law. And, you know, there should be separation of religion and state. Like, it's not... Is it religion and state? Is that the right thing to say? Separation of, yeah, I don't know, but in America it interferes massively with government, and I don't think it should at all. Like, it should be separate. Church and state, that's it. There should be a separation of church and state, and they should never come together. That's just, no. Religion should not be interfering with any kind of laws or government, stuff like that. It shouldn't have an influence over politics. And I think there's a massive problem in America with that. Not so much in England. England's pretty like separate. And religion's not really a big thing in England as it is compared to America. I think in America religion is like pretty massive. And England's pretty chill. Like, no one really minds what anyone's religion really is here. It's kind of like, oh, I'm Christian. Oh, I'm Catholic. Oh, I am into Hinduism. Oh, you know, like, it's really not a big deal. No one really cares here, I don't think, or at least the people that I hang around with don't. It's just kind of there, and it doesn't really affect our opinion of each other. Now, I don't know if that is the type of people that I hang around with or what, but it's definitely a much less significant thing here than it is in America. Obviously, I'm just talking about 2 countries here, and there are all the other countries in the world. I think religion just has such a negative influence. It causes so much conflict, and people doing horrendous things in the names of religion. And yeah, no, I'm not a big fan. But for people personally who are religious, I have some friends who are religious. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't interfere with my life. It doesn't interfere with anyone else's life. As long as the religion is used for their own personal experiences and life and thoughts and beliefs, then that's absolutely fine, as long as it's not, interfering with somebody else. Yeah, that's basically what I think about religion. I mean, I could probably say a lot more about it, but I could go on and on forever about it. What made you want to start recovering? Well, I literally felt like shit all the time. I was suicidal, and I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I think I've said this quite a few times. But yeah, I just didn't want to do it anymore, and I had thought for quite a long time that the only way out was suicide. But then I kind of, started to use my logical brain and realise that there was another way out, and that was to recover. I don't know if I could have done it without the help of my partner at the time, and he was a great motivation and inspiration for me to actually go through with recovery. I really wanted to, get our relationship back to how it had been. That never really succeeded, but now I know for the future that, I don't want to be ill to ruin a relationship that's really awesome. And I don't want a relationship to ruin me, and an eating disorder to ruin me or to ruin anything. Basically I was just so utterly miserable and ill, and just, everything was shit. Everything. And I was sick of it, and then, I just realised there was a way out of it, and although it was a massively difficult way out of it, that was the way out, and it was the only one I was going to choose, so I did. What do you think about Demi Lovato, both her music and her supporting others to recover? I don't think I've ever heard her music, probably ever, unless she's got something really famous, and then if you played it with me and I might recognise it, but, I have no idea what her music sounds like, so I have no opinion on that whatsoever. But what do I think about her supporting others to recover? That's awesome. The stuff I've seen about her talking about recovery and talking about her eating disorder and her supporting other people seems brilliant. So that's great, if anyone ever can have a positive influence on someone recovering from their eating disorder or making the decision to recover, then that's absolutely amazing. So yeah, brilliant. How did you deal with stretch marks from weight gain, or did they not bother you? I didn't get stretch marks for ages, but then they all kind of came at once. Well, I had one period, and then I had another period later on of stretch marks. They didn't really bother me, to be honest, especially not at first. Those ones quickly faded, I think, because I don't remember being very distraught about them. But the more recent ones that I had, which was probably about a year ago, maybe 9 months ago, I was more upset about. I did feel that they were quite ugly, and I felt bad about being able to see them, because I had some on the backs of my thighs and on my butt, and I had a bit down by my knees as well. And I had some on my hips, but those are the ones I didn't really mind about. Those were more the first time round ones. But I was a little bit upset about the stretch marks. I felt that they were quite ugly, but in the end I just kind of got over it, because, I felt bad about it for a bit, and then I was like, well, at the end of the day, they're going to fade into white stretch marks anyway, and, bodies are bodies. Most bodies have stretch marks. Nearly all bodies have stretch marks, because people grow. And yeah, I just thought there's no point me letting it ruin my mood or my self-esteem or my body image, because I can't change it. It's there. That's what happened, and that happened through me getting healthier. So I just kind of accepted it at the end and was just like, right, okay, it's there. I'll deal with it. And then I kind of just forgot about it. In fact, until I read this question, when I wrote it down and when I saw it in my inbox, then I was like, oh yeah, I did. I do have stretch marks, and I did have an issue with them a while ago. And yeah, I haven't thought about it really recently. So yeah, I just kind of accepted it and got on with it, I guess. I'm not saying that's an easy thing to do. It wasn't an easy thing to do, but it was the only thing to do at the end of the day. The last question is, what are your favourite movies? This is another question which is really hard for me to answer, because I absolutely love movies. I watch movies so much. I watch them all the time. And I have a massive DVD collection, and so to ask me my favourite movies, kind of hard, because I have so many. I always say Lord of the Rings is in my top 10. But like, yeah, I just like so many movies like coming into my head right now, like Silence of the Lambs, Pan's Labyrinth, What Lies Beneath, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, Constantine, X-Men, Requiem for a Dream, Man on Fire, I Am Sam, Tangled, How to Train Your Dragon. You know, I could just sit here all day and just continuously list off like loads of movies, and now the fact that I haven't said some of them is like grating on me, because I'm like, oh, you're gonna think like these are my favourite movies, but there's also this one, and you know, like I need to just stop, because I could just go on. And I think someone has asked me on Tumblr my favourite movies before, and I did list like 100 movies because I just couldn't stop. So yeah, yeah, that's all. And that took 15 minutes. It actually took a lot longer because there wasn't that many questions this time. But yeah, I hope that I adequately answered these questions. I hope everybody is doing okay. I know there's been a bit of a gap since my last video. Sorry about that. I've been very busy, lots of work and seeing people. My friend Nick's going to Australia on Sunday, so I've been seeing him quite a lot. Yeah, and just being quite busy. But yeah, obviously I will do another video as soon as possible. I'll probably get one done on Thursday, just so I can, you know, even though it's not a week apart, I'll just upload them because I haven't done one as recently. So yeah, hope everyone's doing well. I hope everybody's had a good week. And, you know, keep your head up and keep fighting. And I will speak to you soon, hopefully Thursday.